Linda's Pantry, guys. I've got another soup recipe. It's been freezing. We've got snow on the ground. It snowed again yesterday, and we've below zero at night. It's not even out of the teens yet, and I am not gonna be cooking dinner when I get home. I'm gonna be cold and ready for a hot meal. So, that being said, I'm gonna make a hearty venison and wild mushroom soup. At the end, I'm gonna add some sour cream so it makes it a lot like a stroganoff because of the red wine and the rich beefy flavor that I'm gonna give this soup in the crock pot. So if this inspires you to stay with me, go ahead and check out the links that I've left in the About section below and go over to my Wild Tree website as well as my Facebook page and join in on that conversation. And join me with another great bowl of soup. All right, guys, come on. Let's go make a hearty and delicious venison stew. You could certainly replace this for beef or elk, bison, anything you'd like in replace of the venison if you're not able to get that. All right, guys, let's go make some delicious soup. Okay, so I've got about a pound of venison that I've just cubed up into bite-sized pieces, and I've got my coconut oil is down here. Coconut oil, you guys, it doesn't break down when you heat it up like other oils. It's so good for you. It's got so many health benefits, from helping Alzheimer's to weight loss. It's just a great oil. So, I'm gonna go ahead. I've got a layer of the venison meat that I'm gonna brown off. And you'll notice I didn't flour this meat because I want to keep it as low carb as possible. And while this is browning, and the secret to this is not to move it. Don't move it until it's ready. The other part, I've got some wild oyster mushrooms. I've also got some white portobello, there's a variety of wild mushrooms in here that I'm rehydrating. I'm not going to throw away that liquor that they're going to lend, and that's going to be the mushroom part of this. Just going to make this absolutely wonderful. I've got my crock pot is back there preheating. It's just a 2-quart crock pot. So it'll be dinner and lunches, and just be nice to come home to a hot meal. So that being said, I'll bring you back when I'm ready to get that meat in there after it's browned. I'm going to go ahead and chop up one beautiful Farmer's Market white onion. Okay, so I've got my meat browned off now. I did generously give it a dose of salt and pepper and some herbes de Provence, which is just an herb blend that really goes well with any kind of red meat. I've got my crock pot back here preheating. I like to get those kind of started. I'm going to go ahead and take my meat out and flop it right over there into the little crock pot. My crock pot for one, I say, or two. And we've got some nice fond, which is just the brown bits from the meat juices that collect on the bottom of your pan. But we're going to deglaze that with a little bit of red wine and some onions, because those onions have enough moisture, and I've chopped that onion up. The onions have enough moisture, they can usually get most of that fond right up off the bottom. So go ahead and put your lid back on the crock pot while you're waiting. And get your onions going, moving around, and you can kind of see how they're picking up the brown bits. That's all flavor. You don't want to leave that behind. It's just a really good layer of flavor. Now, I do have a little bit of red wine here. About half a cup. I'm going to go ahead and deglaze with that as well. You don't need a lot. I've got a lot of liquor from the mushrooms, and I'm just basically just to deglaze this pan and let these mushrooms kind of sweat down a little bit. They're going to become really delicious in this soup, so I'm not too worried about how, you know, soft they get right here. I've got my mushrooms. They're just about ready to, and you know, they rehydrate, reconstitute, and I'm going to leave them in bigger chunks actually. I just love the earthy flavor of mushrooms. So That being said, I'm going to let this pan go and simmer in that wine for another, 5-10 minutes. We'll get it all in the crock pot. We're going to put some beef base in there because the venison doesn't have enough fat on its own or juices to really make a rich stock. So we're going to use that organic low sodium beef base. A couple tablespoons of that. All right, so now I've got my onions all sauteed and my mushrooms have been rehydrated, reconstituted in their liquor. And so down goes the mushrooms and all of the water that I got out of there. And now we're going to go ahead and put our onions down as soon as I get a pot holder to do that with. So our onions and the wine here, and the onions just got really nice and kind of translucent, and you can see all the brown bits have come off the bottom of that pan. Now I put in 2 tablespoons of that beef base, so we're going to fill this up with some water and let this simmer for the rest of the day. And in fact, I'm just going to put the water right in my pan, kind of clean it out as well. Pour that right in there. And I just get it about 1 inch from the top is plenty of soup. So we'll put this on low. I'm sticking a nice bay leaf in there as well. I think I've got enough seasoning for the rest of it. So I'm going to give this a nice stir, and got my meat in there, my mushrooms. Look how hearty this is going to be. And I really think it could use a little bit more liquid, so I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit more water. I'm getting ready to go to work, so I'm going to go ahead and put this on low, and by the time I get home tonight to eat dinner, it'll be ready to go. And there you go. That's how easy that is. It doesn't take any time at all to cook. All right, guys, so I've got this crock pot has been on low all day long, and I am ready for soup. Anyways, I've got it down. Actually, had it on warm for the last hour. So now I can add in my sour cream, because you don't want your sour cream to break necessarily. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Big chunks. Now you could cut your mushrooms up. You could actually, in the past, for a creamier soup consistency, I'll go ahead and fish out the meat portion. And I'm going to take this bay leaf right now. But I would take out, a lot of the meat and some of the mushrooms and go ahead and puree it. But today I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go ahead and put my sour cream in. Get a clean spoon here. Don't want that spoon in my sour cream. So I've got my sour cream tub, and this is a 16-ounce tub. And obviously we're only going to use a little bit. So that's about 1/4 cup. And I'm going to go 1 more spoonful. So maybe 1/3 cup. The second spoon wasn't quite as big. And really just get this mixed in. Now it's going to take the temperature down just a bit of this soup, but you want that creamier look. And with the red wine and the mushrooms and that hearty beef stock in there, it's going to taste like a stroganoff soup without it being too thick. Look how pretty that's already becoming. And I really love the earthy herbs de Provence smell in here. It just smells fabulous. And I'm going to let this sit here on low, or maybe I'll turn that back up to, I'll keep it on low. I don't want that sour cream to break up. And we're going to go ahead and let this get happy for another hour, maybe, just as long as it's hot enough to eat. Just right now, and I did it off camera, not even thinking, I did about 2 tablespoons of fresh parsley in that soup. I always put fresh parsley in my stroganoff, and so I'm going to put that in this soup as well. So all I'm going to do is dish up some of this. And I'm just going to do a small amount for me. It's hard to discern the mushrooms from the meat. They're so meaty looking and hearty. Leaving them whole like that is just fabulous. And the onions are just beautiful and soft. And I'm going to have this next to a side salad. Now you could serve this with a toasted baguette, some croutons, whatever you like, but this is how I'm having it. I'm going to put another maybe teaspoon of some sour cream on top, which tells your guests that there's sour cream in there. Sprinkle a little more fresh parsley on top, and you have a beautiful bowl. There's our soup close up, cooling off, waiting for a bite to happen. Well, it's time for a bite of this delicious soup. It smells amazing. I'm hoping it's not too hot. Got my spoon ready, and I love the sour cream on top for your guests. And here's a piece of venison, as well as I can see some onion and mushroom in the broth. Just really good. It's not thick like a thick stew type broth, so my mouth is watering. Okay, here we go. That was not a YouTube bite. That was absolutely delicious. The venison is just fork tender from simmering all day in that broth. And the mushrooms are still really hearty. This is a piece of an oyster mushroom, and they just hold their texture and really give it a beefy kind of flavor without having meat in there. So you could make this a vegetarian dish if you'd like. Fabulous. I absolutely love wild mushrooms. So if this inspires you, I certainly hope you try this on your own. Make this for your family. It's a warm and comforting meal on a snowy winter day, and it's easy to make. Put it together in the morning and come home to a really warm, inviting bowl of soup. All right, guys. I hope I see you next time. If you're not a subscriber, hit that subscribe button. If you are, and you're on my Facebook page, go share it on your Facebook page. And if you're not on my Facebook, go visit me over there, say hi. Go shopping over at Wild Tree, and most of all, let me know if you make this soup. I can't wait to see you next time. All right, guys. God bless.